War between Russia and Ukraine. Defiantly savage, heroic. The media's coverage of the conflict in Ukraine since February 2022 has been nothing short of impressive. They've put themselves in mortal danger to give us this information. Keep Armin Soldan's name and his accomplishments in mind. To my delight, I discovered. On Monday, the Associated Press was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for breaking news photography for a series of 15 images that graphically depicted the human cost of the conflict in Ukraine in real time. To view the aforementioned article and images, click here. On March 29, police made an arrest regarding Evan Gershkovich. In other words, the Kremlin has him in captivity. I drew parallels between his situation and that of Nicholas Danilov in 1986 in a March 30 post. The Kremlin has also taken him hostage. For U.S. News and World Report, Danilov worked as a journalist. Gershkovich works as a journalist for the Financial Times. Danilov spent 2 weeks behind bars, while Gershkovich has already spent over 6. A case and a man to keep an eye on. Voting is impossible in Russia, at least in fair elections. However, they do have the option of leaving. Take heed of the Moscow Times' reporting that Putin orders measures to reverse mass wartime exodus. The signs are not good. A prominent Russian scientist has been charged with funding a terrorist organization and is currently under house arrest. RFE/RL has released a report. Physicist and mathematician Sergei Abramov is famous for his contributions to the development of supercomputers. And this extremist group, the Anti-Corruption Foundation of Alexei Navalny. Of course you know that Navalny is a political prisoner because he is the head of the Russian opposition. Maria Pevchik, despite being in exile herself, is employed by Navalny's foundation. At the Oslo Freedom Forum, where we both gave talks, I first met her. On Twitter, she condemns Boris Abnasov, the man behind the missiles that have injured and killed so many Ukrainians. Where does Abnasov take his family to ensure their happiness and success? The free and democratic Western world, of course. They call Prague home. Obviously, Mikhail Khodorkovsky and his organization provide invaluable service as well. This piqued my curiosity. At the recent Victory Day parade, Putin was accompanied by whom? 2 retired KGB operatives with a history of oppression and evil. 3 of a kind. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then the one above this article could be worth 2,000. It depicts Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, on the left, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, on the right. There is a headline that says, Italian PM promises full support for Ukraine's EU integration, believes in Ukraine's victory. Those of us who support Ukraine will find this encouraging. There is another article titled, Zelensky gets backing in Rome as Germany announces $3 billion military aid for Ukraine. This is also promising. And here's a snippet from the article itself. Later, in a meeting with the 86-year-old Pope Francis, the Ukrainian leader discussed aid for the innocent victims of the Russian invasion at the Vatican. A bulletproof vest worn by a Ukrainian soldier and later painted with a picture of the Madonna was the gift Zelensky gave to Pope Francis. Here's a piece I think you'll enjoy by Bill Browder. My friend Vladimir Kara-Murza is the political prisoner Putin fears most. The best of Russia can be seen in Kara-Murza, and the worst in Putin. Also, I think you'd really enjoy why Putin's repression is worse than what I endured under the Soviets. Natan Sharansky, formerly Anatoly Sharansky, wrote that piece. For 45 years, many of us have looked up to him as an inspiration. Kara-Murza, Navalny, and others are mentioned in his writing. Both Kara-Murza and Navalny were poisoned in attempts to kill them, as Sharansky points out. 2 of them were not fatal to Kara-Murza. The option of exile was available to both men. Both men spent time abroad, though their trips overlapped. Despite knowing they would almost certainly be arrested, imprisoned, and possibly killed, both chose to return to Russia. So why did they act in that way? They returned, but why?